pre-recorded in the back of our whānau whare, we bring to you Simon 300, brought to you by Lloyd Golf. Tēnā koutou, e te whānau, welcome to Simon 300. My name is Lloyd, and to my right, my co-host, I'll get him to introduce himself.
Kia ora te whānau. I'm the lucky father of Hirowini, or if you're from Captain Cook, Selwyn. We thought we'd just put something together on about the team that I've been involved since '95, and they've been Selwyn and his brother and sister, and I'm sure a lot of others from well within the tummy. So we're just going to go over a few things tonight.
Me too. Probably the biggest thing is, especially, and we've got an audience with us, but especially this year, being so late in the season, we don't want to imitate any of the other podcasts out there. This is just a father and son having a conversation about a team that we love. The Warriors, for those that already know us, know that we bleed the colours of the Warriors. Travel when we can. We've watched games in the beautiful sunrise, and we've watched games in the absolute pouring down rain. And so it's just a conversation that we're going to have about this. But our first question is, why Simon 300?
Being lucky enough to living and working in Poihakena in Sydney, Australia, we got to see a lot of the games live. Probably 90% of the games that were played all up and down the eastern seabed there in Aussie, and Simon, to me, depicted what the Warrior stands for. He never let his team down, never let his club down, supporters. He never moaned or griped about some of the bad rulings we might have got here and there. He always gave praise when it was needed. But most of all, he was loyal. Because if he played his first game for us and he played his last game for us. And there's not too many people these days that do that kind of stuff.
And so Simon Mannering, we've been fans for a long time, and there's been some great players that come through the club, and but obviously for that reason, Simon 300 is what we've named our podcast. And so we're a little bit late in the season, and one thing we're definitely not is bandwagon supporters. We've been on this waka through when it was sinking. We've been on this waka when it was in 2002 when we played the Roosters. We were there. 2011 we were there watching Manly. So we've been on this waka for a long time. But this year something's a bit different, and that's why we wanted to jump in, and rather than just have conversations throughout the week with each other, but share our opinions and see what everyone else thinks. So this year, what's different about this year?
I think it has to do with one of our theme songs there. There's a bit of faith there, when you see it. The guys that are on the field, they're playing for each other, and I think what any supporter of any club asks for is consistency, and that's the big difference this year. You don't become a great club without being consistent. There's no flukes in this competition. You might win a game here and there, but to be really good, you gotta play consistent, good league, and that's what they're doing at the moment. And a lot of other things as well, but that's what it all boils down to, just being consistent, playing for each other every week. The club's on a high, the fans are on a high, and it's just, it goes back to those real glory days, when we're lucky enough to be over there in Sydney, and it was just amazing, and it's just a good time to be a Warrior supporter.
I think the biggest thing from a fan's perspective, because even though we may sit on the couch like many of you watching the game and coach and have our opinions on the administration and all of this, but from a fan's point of view, it's really good to just sit look forward to a game without the anxiety of the 16 points up. Next minute, you're waiting for the fail to happen and the comeback to happen. So it's been a great year from a fan's perspective, but I think at the same time too, our expectations a bit high of the club, and those that put on the jersey on the team. Sometimes our expectation might be a little bit too high, or maybe we're just so used to. For example, if we talk to most people about the Warriors, and even the commentators, Roach talks about, oh, the Warriors, they play this way, and they don't actually see that we've developed this awesome style now. There's this new belief in the team. That's all missed because you've still got the stigma of the Warriors this team. But this year has been completely different. It's been awesome to see. But what's one thing that's really stuck out to you this year with the Warriors, with the boys?
Oh, it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but yeah, I guess it all boils down to the coach. Well, for sure, I guess the hardest thing for anyone to come into an organization is to try and change the mind thoughts of professional sports people that have been around not only in the Warriors themselves but to other clubs, listen to a lot of different other input being put into their minds, and to actually wipe that aside and says, okay, for us to be successful, this is what we have to do from day one. And I think I don't know how he's did it, but he's did it, and that might be a bit of a like his head's always on the chopping block like any coach. He is probably on thinking to himself, I've got the job, that doesn't mean I've got it in 8 months time. And somehow he's found some kind of magic potion that just washed over not only the players, the club, everything. And oh crikey, like I said, it's all about consistency. I'd sign the guy up for 5 years, because even if we go good this year, as long as we do the same next year and the year on, at the end of the day, we all want to win a title. But the only way you're going to do that is sticking with someone and doing the same things over a year and things that work. And I guess the things that he is giving us at the moment, they're working, and who knows in 2 or 3 years' time. Well, what could happen, we just got to start mastering those things. But on field, we've had a lot of real good players on the field. Fanua Blake, he's really starting to blossom into a top line prop. We saw a lot of promise of that when he was with Manly, was it?
Yeah.
As a young fella, brutal kind of guy, but now he's actually blossoming into a 60, 70 minute prop that doesn't make silly kid mistakes or silly, I'm big, I'm tough. He's actually playing with a bit of mind, bit of brain to him now, and I think we got this young guy Jackson Ford. I think I'd throw the book at him. He's a guy that's going to be there for 8 years. If he's only a kid, but he's got a big body, big engine, everything. And same thing. He's just got a footy brain. It's not just about brute and everything. The guy can tackle 30 tackles. There's not many guys that can play 80 minutes and do 30 tackles and still run at the kind of power that he does. So those are just two guys. But yeah, like I said, the coach has done a great job.
Who would
yourself?
One thing that stood out, probably the fact that we look like not just a good team but a good club. And that's like what you were saying about what we look like in 5 years. That's probably something that and we talked about earlier about that's what really needs to happen here. And I think you've said it before. Every kid here wants to be an All Black. Here in New Zealand, most kids want to be an All Black, but the Warriors almost have the opportunity to flood the gates with every kid want to be a Warrior. But um, I guess that comes with success, and if they can be a successful club and more kids and people want to support them, then that'll be a good thing for the club. and fine, because there's heaps of talent here. Just
Hmm.
you look at, I think Tui Vasa's our only Dally M player. He was a rugby player. You got all these rugby players that are coming up, and even the rugby culture here is so huge. It's quite hard for league. And do we really need to always look to Aussie to save us and provide us players when we've got so much talent here? Um, so to see the club succeeding and actually being having consistent success is a standout for me this year, because it's a great feeling to know that they could head towards something even bigger for the club. Um, we played the Dragons on the weekend, absolutely smoked them. 30 points difference. What's some highlights for you over that game?
Oh, funny story that I was on the piss down the road actually. And, to be honest, I missed the first 30 minutes, and I got in and your sister said, "Oh, bloody Johnson's terrible. They should give a kicking back to Pompey. We could have been way up, but that's just the way it is. That's just being honest. But so I watched the whole game the next day, the whole game, and people were saying afterwards, "Oh, we really need to play decent opposition." Well, you don't realize how hard it is to like go to I'm not too sure. It's not Win. It's not.
Wollongong,
Oh, down
Win
the Win.
Stadium.
Yeah, down Win Stadium. I'm not too sure if it's still called that anymore. But those places are like fortress. You don't realize how passionate their fans are about their team until you actually walk into them. You see the kind of history, So so for me, anyone's a good one, because I wasn't so long ago, us North Queensland Cowboys, even Souths, when they first come in, you could almost pick the teams that are going to lose every week. But in recent years, the team on the bottom can now beat the top team. That's how even the competition is. So when people say, or commentators say that we got to play someone decent, it's not so much if you play someone decent, you have to play someone that's in form. And I think we're in form, and that's why everyone's going, I'll wait till they come up against a good team. So, we play South, so South's in form this week. If you watch, I watched their game quite closely on the weekend. They're probably not informed. They're a great club and a great team. So if I know I might be speaking too far ahead, but if we get a result here, does that not give us any indication on how we're going? I don't think we're really going to know how good we're going until 2 weeks after State of Origin, when all the teams are back to full strength. And like I said, the commentators use that as a backstop as well. Well, the Warriors always play well around State of Origin. They got no one representing. That's not our fault. Hey, and we played the Broncos with no players, and they gave us a bloody hiding down Napier there. There's always young kids. You give them a jersey or an opportunity. Their mum or dad says to them, this is your chance, not only for that club to see you play, but for all the other scouts out there in the other clubs. And a lot of them grow an extra 2 legs, an extra 2 hands. So what I'm saying is, was a great win in the end. No injuries, which was good. We got a suspension there. Seems to happen every 2 or 3 weeks. But once again, the boys, anyone that comes in, and I don't think we've had a bad player this year put on our jersey. There's been moments there where guys have let themselves down in their team, but those are only minor stuff. But we're trending in the right place, and it was a good one. Our forwards were dominant. Our backs showed some beautiful touchy classes. Like I was saying to you earlier, the passings, what we're starting to see is in the right place. It's in front of the person. So we're not losing any time snatching for the ball, and everything's looking smooth, looking really nice. Just like our Souths, when Souths are on cue, their back line, they make it look so simple. You scratch your head and you think to yourself, why can't you defend that? Didn't you see the guy at the back was going to get it? But they made it, the way they make it look, just looks like a training run. They say it on TV, but they make it look so easy, and that just comes through hours and hours and building friendships, so you know exactly where the guy is, putting the ball on the right spot. But I think I've gone a bit off cue. But yeah, it was a good win. The Dragons game. What did you take out of it? You went down the road with me, so I guess you saw the whole game.
No, yep, definitely watched the whole game. Yeah, probably the biggest thing that sticks out, and that's what you can talk about the 4 tries and the highlights and all of that, but what in touching on what you're saying about a win's a good win. This is the NRL. If you look at sport and with salary cap, it's the hardest comp in the world. There's no other sport in the world where you're banging it up for 26 weeks flat, plus state of origin, plus all of this, and you've got this. Yes, there's some great clubs out there, and there are the hard clubs, but the easier clubs are even becoming harder. And so it's the hardest comp in the world. For me, what really stuck out was the fact that we just kept going, and it's the little things. So if you go back 3 years ago, we got a penalty within their 20. We take the 2 to go 8. The whole mentality of the club has changed to now we've got enough faith to score. Johnson's playing. I don't know what White was watching. But
I think you're referring to his goal kicking.
His goal kicking. Lucky we scored heaps of tries. But yeah, it's hard to say things stand out every week now because we're being so consistent, which is a weird thing to say about the Warriors, but we're getting so used to it that it feels really good. Moving into this week coming up, and we're going to bring the team list up right now. Boom. Thanks to Jazz Tepaide.
Yeah.
Fullback, Chance Nickel-Clockstead, Zalesniak and Montoya on the wings. And the centres, we have Berry, Pompey. In our halves, we've got Luke Metcalf and Sean Johnson. And the props, we've got Adam Fanua-Blake and Bunty are 4 starting.
Yeah.
Bunty are 4. Our number 9, our hooker, Wade Egan. In the second row, replacing the suspended Neokora, we have Josh Curran and our man Jackson Ford. And in the lock position, running on 2 naked knees, you can see it, but Tohu Harris, our leader. On our bench, we have Mitch Barnett comes back from suspension. Bailey Sirenen, Dylan Walker, and
the Rotorua
boy.
Little Tom.
Who's there?
Ali.
Oh, and we'll just edit this. And our last reserve, Tom Ali. Me. Because it's just look like I'm reading it. Look like I'm reading it. Okay, it's close though. Same team. The only real change is that Mitch Barnett comes in onto the bench and Curran into second row. For Neokora, what are your thoughts on this week's team?
Good team. Yeah, they're really starting to it's a pity we haven't is it a pity or is it a blessing? We haven't really had our number 1 team on the field all season, I guess, through suspensions or injuries, but a lot of clubs don't get that kind of thing all year long through pre-season. You pick up injuries here, state of origin rep games, so it's like I said, it's great to know that those guys that are getting selected, they're putting it in for their teammates in the club. So and I don't know where we're going to fit some of these guys in when they're available, like Jazz and Martin and who else is there? Of course, Neokore when he comes back in. To me, it's almost looking like we're going to have the smallest bench in the competition if we choose those players. We've got probably 4 big units that can start now with Fanua-Blake. Tohu, he can go up into the front line. You got Barnett, you got Neokore, he can go up. They can all go into the front line. So, if you ever look, say in a month's time, we keep Metcalf, he doesn't get injured. Maybe Martin, you're looking at Jazz, you're looking at Dylan Walker, and you might even be looking at like someone like a Curran. That's a tiny bench in NRL standards.
Yeah.
But then you'd say that's too small. But when you look at those four big guys, you know, I think if you're up with the game, Dylan Walker and Jazz are going to come on and play in the middle. So it probably works out perfect. Who are you going to bring off after 20 minutes if Flanua Blake can play the whole 40?
Yeah.
That only you got to make room for two other guys. So crikey, it's a great little dilemma to have.
Yeah.
So at this stage, I think we're going to have, the coach is going to have some really tough decisions to make on how he wants the last 15 minutes in each half to be played. And I think with those little guys, it's the way to go because our big guys can come back on and finish the game quite easy.
Hmm.
You know, so it's going to be interesting. And put it this way, I remember when the Tigers went on their great run and they won the grand final against the Cowboys. They had the smallest pack in the competition, but they just went for all-out speed, forwards with speed.
Mm.
And, you know, they played some great league that year, so wouldn't be the first time. But for our team this week, I know they're going to try their best. They're playing a real good opposition, playing at home to a packed house. So the only thing that'll let them down is probably execution. You know, when it comes when the whistle blows, if you're not on, you're going to get hiding. It's
Yep.
quite simple. You got to be on. Yourself,
Mm.
what you think of the team when how it
Uh,
might be in a month's time? Or
yeah, no, I agree with the dilemma. But it's a great dilemma to have. And the best thing is we're not the coach, so that's not our
yeah,
job. We can just sit there, and that's why the bro's on the big money. That's why he gets paid to do it, not us. Yeah, well, it just really dependent on what we want as a team. Whether we're going for the speed look, the big look, the far, it's not our job. But it's not our job, so that's we can just it's from a fan's perspective, from our perspective, or my perspective, it's awesome to know that if some players are out, we've got the cover,
Hmm.
so we're not panicking if um, I think I was watching on the weekend and they talked about um, who was the player? Andrew Johns. When Andrew Johns was out, his team, the Knights would always lose. We don't have that dilemma. His win rate, the Knights' win rate without Andrew Johns, and so we're not based on that one player. Sean Johnson's probably that player for us at the moment because we're watching. But knock on wood, if anything was to happen, I'm pretty sure that um, Tohu's a big loss as well if anything was to happen there. But
I think they got to give him a
um,
rest, eh? Give him a rest
yeah,
soon.
yeah,
Give him a rest.
they
His
have to.
pride probably get in the way, and his loyalty and his
Yeah,
everything probably get in the way. But I think they got to tap him on the shoulder and give him a couple of
yeah,
weeks. Give him
yeah.
a couple of weeks.
I know we got the bye in round 22, so that'll be a good rest for him. But it's like I said, it's a great dilemma to have. Can be a big headache though, but it's not our job, so that's a good thing. Probably just to wrap up before we wrap up, because we are brought to you by Lloyd Golf, our sponsor. And for those who know us as well, we're a golfing whānau. Well, we play golf. There's one golfer, but we play golf, and anything happening in the golfing world.
Yeah, actually, it's been going all year long, but the Masters scene or the Masters tour within the country, that's for mature adults over the age of 40, men and ladies, is starting to ramp up. And for us here in Rotorua, in the Bay of Plenty, Springfield Golf Club has their annual Springfield Masters tournament this weekend. I haven't seen the field yet, but I know the baby represented by some of the best mature golfers in the country, men and ladies. And I know our brothers and sisters up there in mighty Waikato, they always tautoko come along. And it's a great little tour to get amongst if you're just joining golf or been around golf for a while, and you're at that young age of 40 plus. We have everyone plays hard on the course, but then kicks back and has a nice lemonade in the evening, and there's some good talk and banter going on, and it's just a real good buzz to be around. So that's this weekend. I'm expecting all my children to be there watching me, but sometimes they've got other commitments like sleep and video games, but that's okay
That's
sometimes.
the other two. Yep.
That on the golf scene, we're halfway through the year. Another 3 months of this rubbish weather, and then we're back into daylight savings, back to shorts and singlets and jandals on the course. So yeah, it's pretty much the golf scene at the moment. Pretty quiet, but it's about to get busy. Yeah.
Awesome. And just before we any closing remarks on the Warriors for this week?
This week against South, the Rabbits.
Yep.
I think it's probably we're a bit. I suppose we overlooked the team namings. We should have seen if the Latrell was playing.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone, so that's a bonus because him alone, he's a bit of a lot of people don't like him, but I guess that comes with a lot of tall poppy syndrome. When you're that good, you do get a lot of haters, and he would have been. I won't say it. He wouldn't have been. I hope he's not playing this week, and that's not being negative to say we can't beat them with them in their team. It's just being honesty. But I think the guys, they'll go good. They'll go good. There's a vibe there. The place be packed. 8 o'clock Friday night. Hope the weather plays all right. But one other, in saying that, when hoping the weather be good. If it's pissing down with rain, even better. I'd love to see a game 1-8-9 or something like that, old style game, and that's when the true supporters come out. And I know there's a lot of people that have been up there. We've been there, and it's a long trip home when you don't get the result and you drive past McDonald's there on the highway, and it's straight home, go to sleep, kids. But no, I think they'll go well. I think they'll go well. Any win's a win. Let's not get greedy, people. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Long as if we win by 1, if we win by 20, a win's a win, and we just got to keep moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Yeah, this week, no, it's been probably the story of the year, just waiting for the games rather than sitting there going, come on, boys, hopefully this week here's another win. But just it's good to be a fan sitting there waiting for a Warriors game. And we're not perfect. I mean, some of the best, you look at successful clubs like the Storm, the Broncos, or, back in the day, they all lost. And we can sometimes get a bit, change this, what's going on based on one game. Where now it's a bit different. We can talk knowing that there's a consistency and there's a culture shift. And so I'm just looking forward to watching the boys play. Yeah, in Auckland, home. Hopefully it's sold out, but hopefully it's chockers up there and it's noisy and everyone gets behind them. So yeah, that's us.
Yeah, that's us.
That's us for our first ever episode of Simon 300. Hopefully you've made it to the end. If you haven't, that's all good. And if you want us to talk about anything, just post your questions down below. Like and subscribe to Lloyd Golf. Watch some golfing footage of us as well. And have the week you deserve, and up the wires.
Up the wires.